Hi, and welcome to Something to Talk About, where we talk about different subjects that are of interest to you, a member of the Greater Burlington community. If you would like to comment or talk to either one of us tonight, you can call in live by calling 781-270-9199. Or if you'd like to send me an email for either topics or questions that you have at a later time or suggestions for future topics, please feel free to email me at talk@bcattv.org. Before I get started, I would like to thank my crew, Corey McNeil, Mike Duvall, JT Marchant, and Colleen Moore, who are helping me out tonight behind the scenes. So I'd like to give them a special thank you. And I would also like to thank my husband, Paul, for allowing me to come to BCAT. And hopefully that Gwyneth and Evan had a great daddy date night tonight. Mommy loves you, and I will see you in the morning. So tonight, now on to tonight's subject matter.
Yes.
We have Liz McGrory, who is a working mom coach.
Yes.
And what we're going to talk about tonight is what a working mom coach does and how you can help us.
Yay.
Yay, so welcome. Thank you very much for appearing.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Okay, well, to get us started, can you tell us a little bit about your background, like where you grew up, what your career history is, whatever you feel like sharing with us?
Yeah, sure. So I was born and raised in Chelmsford, but I actually spent a lot of my time here in Burlington. My grandparents are from here. My mom was born and raised here. So I would spend many weekends driving down Route 3 to visit them.
Route 3's probably changed a little bit since then.
Oh, yes. I remember staring up at the beautiful green trees, and now it's definitely different. And so I grew up in Chelmsford, but also Burlington. And I went to college at UMass Dartmouth. Okay. And after graduating from there, I landed back in Burlington as a tech support engineer at Sun Microsystems.
Oh boy.
No longer there, sniff sniff. I was there for about 5 years, and then I went back to Chelmsford with a technical company. I'm now a senior technical support engineer.
Great.
And in 2011, I opened my own business as Coach Lizzie Mick, Working Mom Coach. And in 2007, my husband and I purchased a home in Billerica. Since then, we've had 2 children, Luke, who is 4, Lily, who just turned 3 last week, and we're expecting number 3 in April.
Congratulations. Wow, you really have your hands full.
Yeah, I've been busy.
So, what made you interested in becoming a working mom coach, and how did you end up going down that career path?
So when I went back to work after my second maternity leave, my career took a very unexpected turn. And thankfully, my company invested in me and hired a leadership coach who I actually knew pretty well.
Okay.
He helped me through my own motherhood transition challenges, like work-life balance.
Yeah. I had a bad experience with that. I admire you.
I think we definitely all have our challenges, regardless if you are a career mom or a woman like yourself that volunteers a lot. I applaud that and I admire that. Or even a stay-at-home mom. We definitely all have our challenges, and that work-life balance is definitely a challenge. But he was also able to help me think about my career outside of the box. Think about different avenues. And I realized that, being a working mom, there are a lot of struggles to it. And with a coach, I was able to overcome those challenges much quicker.
Oh, wow.
Yes. After 8 months of coaching, I just felt like a completely different person. And I wanted the same for other working moms, so I started a blog out at LizzieMick.com. And at the end of my coaching with him, I realized that my life's purpose was to be a coach. So a few days after I was done, I enrolled in coaching school.
Okay. How did you find out about a coaching school?
Through my coach.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I looked into his coaching school. Coach Inc. has a division called Coach U, and that's where I graduated from.
Okay.
But there are a few other schools in the New England area, and I checked them out. But I really liked Coach U because all of the classes were over the phone. I didn't have to go anywhere.
Cool.
Work-life balance, right?
Yeah.
And I was able to, it was a lot of work. I had to coach people from day one when I started the curriculum. I had partners that I would have calls with. Sometimes we'd have mastermind groups where a bunch of us would get together and talk about the particular topic for that week. And then on top of that, I had homework. Growing myself, but I loved it. It wasn't that kind of homework. It was more personal development because to be a
like
good
your own personal development type? Okay.
in order to be a solid coach, you don't want to be distracted about anything that's going on in your life because you want to be able to focus completely on the person that you're coaching. You want to be in the moment with them and not be thinking about, is it bath night tonight or not, which I totally was thinking that today myself.
I'm also thinking, focus. What a concept.
Right?
I need some of that.
Yes. And I had lost it. And through coaching and through the coaching schooling, I was able to learn how to be a working mom, how to balance my home, my children, and my career, and still be able to focus on the things that I needed to, sort of like boxing things out.
Okay.
It was such a great learning experience. And if it wasn't for my coach, I wouldn't be sitting here tonight talking to you.
Well, you might be. It just might not be about coaching.
That's true. I'll give you that.
Now, you mentioned that you were coaching people from like right when you started. Was there a mentor with you? Because it's like if you just started, you don't want to misinform or misguide the person that you're coaching. So was there like a mentoring program from day one?
Yeah, the mentoring program was basically my teacher.
Okay.
And any of my any of my peers.
Okay.
And the people that I were coaching, they understood that I was still in the learning process.
Okay.
Although they got great benefits from it, I'm sure if I went back to them now, they'd realize something completely different. I'd be able to get to their solution a little bit quicker with them.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of times you'd get stumped, and I just have to admit out loud to the person I was coaching, not sure. But then I would go back to class and I would figure out what else I could have asked or other avenues I could have taken.
Now, you mentioned some of your peers. Was there like a peer review process where, like you said, if one client had you stumped, could you brainstorm with the other peers, and was that helpful at all?
Yes, any kind of group atmosphere for me excels my learning experience. So when I would be talking to one of my co-peers, asking them what their thoughts were, just getting someone else's point of view. And that's what coaching is too, getting someone else's point of view. But it's just you're not being told what to do. Because who would I be to tell you what to do?
Right.
It's not my life. And why would you listen to me?
Yeah, because I don't know what I need, and that's why I come to a coach.
So while talking to a coach, although you don't believe that you don't know, if you just had the time
Yeah.
to
That
talk
keyword.
about, to talk about it out loud,
Okay.
to have no interruptions.
Yeah.
But it is feasible, and it only takes a very small amount of time because that is what coaching is. It's segments of very small blocks of time. Usually sessions go twice a month for 45-minute periods, or some coaches offer 30, some offer an hour. And the beautiful things actually happen after the coaching session because the person's thinking about
Like processing. I know I'm like a person that I have to go home. Takes me a while to process, and of course, 3 hours later is when I come up with the best comebacks for when people tell me something.
Or you come back with the greatest comeback about how you can overcome a particular challenge that you're trying to work out.
Interesting. Career change for me. Now, did we really, I know you talked about the education. What's the certification process? Just completing this course? Or is there some kind of, like if you're a lawyer, you have a bar exam? What is the process for becoming an official certified career coach?
So you do need to go to school. You need to get 60 hours from an accredited school, an accredited school. And Coach U is such a school.
Okay.
So I have that under my belt. My next step in my certification is to go through a certification body, and who I am going through is the International Coaching Federation.
Wow.
And their goal right now is to make the certification process just like what you said. When you go to become a lawyer, when you go to become a doctor, when someone says, I am a lawyer or am I a doctor, there's no question as to who you are. Where with coaching right now, someone may say, oh, I'm a coach, and someone else would reply back, oh, well, what sport?
Yeah, exactly.
So that crediting body that's their goal right now, so that when you say I am a life coach or I am a career coach, people understand what that's about.
Okay.
So that's the level where I'm at right now.
Okay. Now, you mentioned life coach, career coach, soccer coach. No, sorry.
You had to.
Now, when you're studying and when you're preparing and when you're taking the classes and coaching people, do you have to, like in a regular school, you have to declare a major. Now, do you specifically get certified as a working mom coach or a career coach and you just choose your client base to be female?
You choose it. It's just like when you run your own business, you can make up your own mind of what you'd like to do. There could be a coach on focusing on any subject matter. The popular ones are executive coaching, leadership coaching, career coaching, life coaching. But there are coaches for, my goodness, working moms.
Okay.
Which isn't popular, but I do feel like there's a need for it. I feel like working moms need to become aware that coaching can vastly improve their emotional and professional, their being, their existence. But back to your question, priests have coaches, writers have coaches, any profession, including soccer, can have a coach.
Sorry, it's a joke.
It's
little
a
tiny
good one.
joke.
I like it.
Okay, not to throw another curveball at you, no pun intended with the sports thing. Now, you mentioned life coach and career coach, and I'm just thinking of my personal experiences as a mom. My career as a mom and my life as a mom, to me, are the same thing. So for me, as well as our audience, can you kind of define what the differences are between a career coach and a life coach?
That's a great question. A life coach, in my opinion, is what do you want to do with your life?
Okay. What do you want to do if you grow up?
Exactly. Or what challenges are you currently facing?
Okay. Now, would somebody go to a life coach if they're thinking of doing a career change?
They could.
Like if they're in software and all of a sudden, I want to become a freelance writer, or I want to go into photography, or I want to go into teaching. Would somebody like that go to a life coach or a career coach?
If they started off with a life coach,
Okay.
that life coach could help them because a coach is certified on the coaching process.
Okay.
So although that life coach may not know about, or they may not have a vast
Knowledge of that specific career?
Exactly, or connections within that career. They may not know resume building that well.
Okay.
They might not know networking that well.
Okay.
But you would have to know yourself if a career change is what you would want,
Okay.
what you're looking for in a coach. What is it that you want to accomplish?
Okay. So I know I interrupted you, and I'm really good at doing that, so I apologize.
Right.
Do you have anything to add about what a career coach does separately from a life coach? Because you mentioned like resume building and have those career connections. Did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Yeah. So
Okay.
other things that a career coach could do for you is taking a look at your resume and not necessarily looking at what jobs you've had in the past, but what qualities of each of those jobs sparked your interest.
Okay.
What matches your values.
So looking beyond the job title. Okay.
Yep, and looking beyond not just the job title that you've had, but other job titles out there. So if you've had a marketing career and you've had somewhat of a I don't even know, sales career, but there's some special niche in the middle that you've never had as a job title.
Okay.
But you discover that that combination of
wanna
the
do.
two is what you want.
Yeah.
How do you get that? How do you market yourself like that out there?
Gee, I should have met you like 10 years ago.
Well, you met me now.
I met you now. Okay. Do you have anything to add to that before I move on to my next cheat sheet question?
No, that was a great curveball. Thank you.
Okay. Spontaneous, synapses are firing. What are your coaching career goals? What do you hope to accomplish by being a career coach?
What I aspire, and I think I already said it, but I'd love
Okay.
to say it again.
You got to tell me things at least 3 times before it sinks in.
Got it. As a working mom coach, I loved being coached so much during my transition, during my career changes of what I wanted my job to be.
You want that happiness.
I want, yes, that bliss. I want for working moms to become aware of what coaching can do for them, for their personal life and their professional life.
Okay.
And being a working mom, it's a struggle.
Being a mom is a struggle.
Exactly. You automatically have this responsibility for your children, for your home, and then for your professional performance.
And your husband.
Exactly.
Gotta kind of
that
include him once in a
too,
while.
right? If it wasn't for him, you probably wouldn't have had a lot
Exactly.
of it. It can be a struggle, and a coach can help you with that.
And you want to make everybody happy. You want to make the world a better place to live.
Sounds a little sappy, but it's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
You're one little corner of the world.
Yes, this Burlington corner and Billerica corner of my world and Chelmsford corner of my world, yes.
Okay, I think you kind of also touched upon my next question, but just in case there's anything you want to add, what have you learned from the coaching experience, from both perspectives, from both being coached, and, well, one thing that I've gathered that you learned is that you want to be a coach. But what have you learned as a coach? I mean, has coaching other people helped you? And are there things that you've never imagined or never even thought of that are now starting to show up in your life?
Well, when I first got coached, when my coach said, I want to coach you, I had no idea what he was talking about. I was like, all right, sure. I'm just so frazzled at the moment and so frustrated.
Talk to me. Fix me.
What exactly? Give me the answers. But I learned that I learned what a coach does. A coach is, and a working mom coach is a coach that's pairing up with a working mom, and they are working on whatever goals she feels she needs to accomplish, whatever challenges she's facing. It's a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires her to maximize her personal and her professional potential.
Okay.
It's focusing on goal settings, it's focusing on personal change management, and then the outcome, the results of it. Because when you're going through that vast amount of changes, it's a difficult pill to swallow. Like, you're in that state of unknown. Something I learned as a coach and something I learned being coached, it's okay not to know the answers. It's okay not to be in control.
Well, I don't need to know everything.
No, that's actually where the magic happens. That sounds corny, but it is so true. And having a coach there in your corner to make you feel that it's just all right.
It's also nice having like a somewhat objective opinion to bounce ideas off of. And
Throw those crazy ideas out there. That person will not judge you.
yeah.
If anything, they'll just keep you going and keep talking you through it until you find the solutions, or together you find the solutions.
And finding that, you were talking about, finding what you want out of your career, finding what you want out of your, just finding the balance too, and how to get everything in the right proportions to have that little light bulb or have the,
The aha
moment.
which you won't get every time in a coaching session. Sometimes it does happen in the aftermath.
Well, not necessarily the session itself, but the whole process. By the end, you want to see that light at the end of the tunnel. You want to say, okay, for the past 8 months, twice a month?
Twice a month or 3 times a month.
Okay, 2-3 times a month. I want something to show for my efforts.
Yes, you want results.
I want results.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And measuring the results is that inner peace going, okay, I'm not losing my mind. I'm not losing my car keys. I'm in a good space in my life.
Yes.
So.
It's also about realizing who you are.
Okay.
What you want out of life, discovering what your values are. So people may ask you, what do you value? What is it? And it's taking...
Sleep.
What was that?
Sleep.
Yes. Oh, I'm a huge sleep. Oh, it's such a must. It's definitely a habit that you should get into as a working mom. But just finding what your values are, finding what your priorities are, knowing those things makes your decision process go so much easier. It's less stress because you know what it is that you truly want. And if you decide against it, something rubs the wrong way. There's friction. You don't like it. And now, because you know what your values are and what your priorities are, you can quickly answer why it doesn't feel right.
Okay. And not only why it doesn't feel right, but what to do to fix it as well. Okay. All right. I think you like this question. I hope you like this question. How do you define a working mom?
Okay.
Trick question.
It is a trick question. I do define a working mom as a mother that needs to provide income to contribute that toward her family. But that being said, all moms work.
Yeah.
All people work. I don't like the branding. I despise it. And I struggled with it when I was naming my own business. And that's also one of my personal goals, to figure out a different way to classify the particular... I still struggle with it. You can hear it in my voice.
Right.
But that is what society calls it.
Exactly. I was going to say, everybody else has to be on that same page and know what you're talking about.
Exactly,
So
to get my
unfortunately,
point
you
across.
have to put a label on some things.
But that is what I classify it as.
Okay.
But I don't just work with women that have a career. With our mother-to-mother group, a lot of them are stay-at-home moms, and I've helped them. A lot of them are women that volunteer like you.
For the most part, I do stay at home.
But we all still have the same
Right.
struggles, although some of them are different. I do believe that a difference between those particular types is how you are handling your emotions in the moment. Our natural state of being is happiness, and that's what we always want. But how we deal with anger and stress and sadness and guilt and shame, they're all a little different because we do have different priorities as those different types. So that is a difference that I've seen. But it's indifferent, good, bad, or indifferent, as they say.
Good, the bad, and the ugly. No. Okay. What are some of the biggest challenges that moms who do work outside the home face?
I believe just doing it all.
Yeah.
Getting up in the morning, getting the kids ready the same time you're trying to get ready, trying to find that quality time in between, and then the switching of the gears of focusing on your performance, because that performance equals a dollar amount and also a personal fulfillment.
Right.
Because you've worked so hard toward getting that career and you do want to excel. And keeping focused on that, and then coming home to what they say is your second job, as a mother, the bath time, the story time, you're exhausted. But luckily for me, when I got coached, I was able to refocus my efforts on my career. It gave me time to focus.
Okay.
What it is I want. What do I want to do when I grow up? And it also taught me that it was okay just to sort of be out of control. It was okay.
Really?
It really was. It's okay to. There's one more really good point I was going to say. I've forgotten my point. Darn.
Well, let's move on to the next question.
Sounds good. If
Well,
I remember
you know,
it,
I'm
I'll
also
let you
thinking,
know.
not to kind of throw you yet
Another
another
curveball.
curveball, but it's like, stream of consciousness here. I did try going after the birth of my daughter. I did try going back to work, and I lasted about 3 weeks trying to balance the home life with the career life, and it was a huge disaster. Part of, I think, my inhibition or resistance to going back to work is I had this reluctance to put my child in daycare. Is that a struggle that you see a lot of moms going through? And just off the top of your head, what are some of the recommendations to kind of look past that? Because like you said, you need the income or else you would be staying at home.
I believe that going back to what your values are and what your priorities are. So your first priority, and I'd like to assume it for everyone, is that your family is your most important. But knowing that and knowing that you have to provide for them, why are you a working mom? Put that into perspective.
Okay.
Make your priorities your perspective.
Okay.
So when I was leaving my first child, when I was leaving Luke, I used to call it a Jedi mind trick, that it didn't bother me miraculously. But my career at the time was going places. Like, I was really excited about it. I also knew that although I was very tearful, I'm an extremely emotional person, I probably did cry very often when I had to leave him. But when I would go to work, I was fulfilling something within me that just felt right. I did think of him often. I couldn't just put him out of my mind. Some women can. Everyone's different. But when my second child, Lily, came around, and the career just wasn't there, or where I thought it was, it went to the right, and I was expecting it to go to the left. That was a huge struggle.
Just wasn't what you wanted anymore, so it kind of changed the perspective.
So
on
coaching
things.
was there.
Okay.
And being able to talk to someone about it, I was no longer alone. That was my other point I wanted to make. Learning from being coached and being a coach, you don't have to go through it alone.
Okay.
You're not alone. I also went out and spoke with other working moms within my company and shared with them the struggles that I was going through, and they could empathize.
Yeah.
That felt awesome.
Right.
And I was able to work through it because I had that support system.
Okay.
And that's what coaching gives you. Did I answer your question completely?
I think so. If not, I'm sure we'll get on the subject again.
I still believe it's a Jedi mind trick. I really do. But it is what you put your mind to. It is
Right.
what your perspective is.
Now, when you were mentioning, the other moms, the support, several of my friends and I have been discussing randomly at different conversations, you never fully understand and comprehend what it's like to be a parent until you have a little rugrat running around.
I concur.
And it's, even if you think it's always totally different, and you never know what to expect.
I remember with the birth of both of my children, I would go to my mom and dad and be like, you never warned me. You did not tell me that all of this was going to happen. But life was different back then as well.
True.
And everyone is different. But you hit the nail right on the head. You really...
So you need that support system, because, and it's nice to get it from people with similar backgrounds, with other parents, because they get it.
They do get it.
When you have the 22-year-old single, right out of college supervisor, it's like, you don't get it.
It's difficult.
You don't get it.
Yeah, that's quite a challenge.
And sometimes they really try hard, but other times...
They try to sympathize, but they can't empathize
Exactly.
with you.
Exactly. And I just had another thought that jumped out of my head as well.
We're 2 for 2.
2 for 2. Parent brain. Okay, next question.
Yes.
I think you also touched upon, different struggles of being a working mom. Are there... Yeah, I think you kind of answered it. Struggles of being a working mom, trying to find that balance. Did you have anything that you wanted to add about what working parents go through when they're faced with having kids.
I do believe that finding that work-life balance is achievable through goal setting, and through knowledge and through practice.
Okay.
So I've talked about values and priorities. So
Okay.
what are values? Values are, they're ideals that make you move forward. They're what are important to you. And
Okay.
figuring out what those values are, and practicing living your life according to them, does make things simpler. So, for example, for me, my values are to be creative. If that's choked, I am not happy. I like to catalyze. I like to energize.
Okay.
I enjoy teaching people. I do love
Okay.
seeing that aha moment
Oh,
on their
yeah.
face.
Yeah.
I also value bliss. The pleasure, the fun of life. I'm an extremely optimistic person. That's when I knew something wasn't right. When I returned from my second maternity leave, I was just sad.
Yeah.
And coaching made me realize, reminded me of what my values were, and then my priorities. So for priorities, there's 3 of them. There's your practical priorities, so what's important to you in your everyday life. Then there's your personal priorities. What is your heart's desire?
Okay.
And then what are your professional priorities? What's important in your career or in your job? When you know those, when you define those, when you've actually listed them out, making decisions, again, is just so much easier because you've got your rule book.
Oh, okay.
Not a parent handbook, doesn't
Yeah.
exist, but you have your own rule book of what would make your life flow much easier.
Can that rule book be changed?
Your values can't be changed.
That's true.
There's just something that
Okay.
ignites you, and
Okay.
you've always done it. So if there was something you did when you were like 8 years old, you probably still love to do it now.
Yeah.
It's just something that's inherited in you from the very, very beginning.
Okay.
Your priorities, though, those can change.
Okay.
For example, with this 3rd child coming, my life's going to be turned upside down.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for it. And my priorities will change because of it. So
Okay.
again, being okay with not knowing, being okay being in that state, it's all okay because that's what I'm going to learn the most.
Go with the flow.
Yes.
I like surprises. No, actually, I don't like surprises, but
I love surprises.
I'm learning to like surprises and go with the flow. So, okay. What do you hope? Actually, did you finish?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, I
Just
think
want
that
to
was
make sure
good.
you're happy with the answer before I move on. Eventually, I will be able to get rid of this, but I'm still kind of new sitting in the host chair.
I
so-
think you're doing a fabulous job.
Thank you. I still need my little cheat sheet. What do you hope your children remember about their working mom when they grow up? When they're sitting in that chair going, what do I want to do with my life? You know, I have 2 kids at home, and looking back at their mom, because you had mentioned already your parents didn't tell you. What do you want your kids to remember about growing up?
I want them to remember feeling loved, feeling cared for, that they were always surrounded with good people, good opportunities, regardless if I wasn't there 24/7. I also want them to remember that I was a working mom and the reasons why I did it, that we have a mortgage to pay for,
Yeah.
that I want nice beds for you to sleep in, and that I was a working mom, that I grew up knowing that my education was important to me. So on top of needing to work, I wanted to work.
Okay.
I had goals that I needed to fulfill because that's what I value. And I want them to see that.
Okay.
So regardless if I don't work for a little bit or if I worked the entire time, I want them to remember that I did work and that they were still happy because of it.
And also at the same time, just by leading or living that life through example, you are instilling in them your values, your priorities, everything that you talked about earlier.
Very true. I think everybody's predicaments are different. And for me and my husband, it has worked out very well that we've both worked and that life can change in a heartbeat. So as long as they remember that they were happy and that they were loved and that they weren't neglected and that I was there for them on top of everything that I do now. And to know, I don't think they'll remember it, but I would like for them to remember that I was trying to make a difference in the world.
Okay. Wow, that's really profound.
Thanks.
What is a good first step that a working mom could take to get started on her path to finding the happiness, finding the balance, finding how to proportion life, or how to get that balance? What's the good first step to take?
I sort of already answered it, but
Yeah.
I want to reiterate it. Knowing that there's always a more efficient way to live your life, and finding a coach will do that for you.
Okay.
Knowing your values and knowing your priorities.
How do you find a coach?
Great question. So you were talking about career versus life.
Okay.
What are your current struggles? So
Okay.
is it being a working mom? Are you about to return from maternity leave and that feeling just leaves you empty inside? I would get online and I would Google whatever your challenge is and then the word coach right after it. Now, the best way to narrow down whom you would like to work with is to speak with them, because the best way to learn and educate yourself on what a coach can do for you is to actually be coached.
So kind of like an interviewing process.
Yes,
Okay.
but it's more, you're going to them.
Okay.
Almost all coaches offer a free complimentary session. I do. I offer a free 30-minute complimentary coaching session. And in that session, you get to talk to the coach live.
Okay.
You get to tell them the challenges that you're going through. And afterwards, you can ask them any questions they have about their business.
Okay.
So this evening, I can't offer our viewers any coaching at the moment, but I could offer it to you.
Let's go for it.
So what would you like to be coached on?
I think I'm still, I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old at home. I'm still struggling with finding that balance. They are my highest priority. You know, I am fortunate enough that I can stay home with them. But trying to balance, no, I don't have a working career. I don't have a positive income, but I volunteer here at BCAT. I volunteer for Mother to Mother. I like to volunteer. I like to do things with my kids. So how do I find that balance? Keeping a home, you know, keeping our house organized. How to get rid of the pack rat gene, or get the pack rat gene under control and be able to fit a car into the garage without the help of my daughter saying, "Mommy, you can't get rid of this. It's a piece of lint." But how to find that balance and also manage to find me time, because grocery shopping at 8 o'clock at night is not my idea of me time. So how do I start to look at finding that balance?
Okay, so I heard 3 things from you.
Okay.
I heard wanting to find balance. I heard organizing your home. And I heard wanting to have me time.
Okay.
So does balance
too much to-
you? No, let's talk about
Okay.
it. So does balance to you mean freeing your home of clutter as well as finding me time? Or is there more to balance? What does the word balance mean to you?
I think finding that combination where I am content, where I am happy, or we're talking about that moment of bliss. Just go, okay, life is good right now, and it's not just a slogan on a t-shirt. You know, I think before I get my me time, I do want to organize my house. You know, I think that's kind of a big deal to me. I want to be able to use our family room as a family room and not as a dumping ground. I would like to get a car back in the garage. How do I go through all of that to make my world more organized so I don't have that confusion in my brain as well?
Okay, so you want to
Does
be
that make
coached.
sense?
It does make sense, but
Okay.
let's clarify. So what you want to be coached on is organizing your home so that your life, you were going like this.
Yeah.
So that your life is that bliss that you want.
Right.
Is that what you like to be coached on?
Well, right now my home is basically my life because I don't get out much. And I
Oh.
think, well, I get out enough, but I do spend a lot of time in the physical house. How can I make that a space where I'm comfortable? And I think part of it is purging a lot of stuff. Like, I do not need all my college textbooks and all my college notebooks. Those can hit the road. But just finding that inner sanctum, that peace in my little corner of the world.
I was going to say, where is your little corner in your home?
Sitting on the couch watching Jeopardy. I don't know. That's what I mean. It's like the whole house. Yeah, I kind of just hang out in the well, the living room is our
Everyone's space.
Grand Central Station.
You don't
but
want to
we-
be in there.
Well, I do. I don't
Do you?
mind. But there are other spaces where I'd like to retreat to.
Like where?
The family room, where it's nice and quiet. And I love doing arts and crafts stuff. Scrapbooking, candle making, whatever.
Oh, wow.
I love doing stuff like that. So I have shelves in our family room set up that I could go down there, I could put a movie in, I could listen to a CD, and I can work on a craft or an activity. But I can't do that right now.
What's stopping you?
The space. I don't have that space right now. There's too much clutter. And it's too cold. But there's too much clutter down there. I need to organize that space so I don't... Because when I go there, in my space, I want to be able to relax. And if there's too much clutter, there's too much other activity, there's too much chaos going around, I can't relax. Sorry, I talk with my hands a lot.
No, but that's good because it actually shows a lot. You're going like this. It's
Yeah.
like it's not anger.
Yeah,
it's just
stress.
aggravation.
Stress.
Right. But it sounds as if that's the kind of spot
Yeah.
that you would like, that you can escape and go
Right.
downstairs, and everyone stays upstairs in Grand Central Station,
Right.
where they should go.
But I should go.
So you said it was cold down there.
Well, we have a space heater, so...
I was gonna say, is it cold
And a
down there?
wood-burning stove.
I love stoves. Oh, I love the smell of it, especially when it's freezing out right now.
Exactly.
Anyways, that's changing the subject. So how do you make it warm? So if there's a space heater down there, and if there's the wood stove down there, how would you make it warm?
Turn on the space heater.
But what else? Like if you thought of it, not literally
Yeah.
making
Oh,
it warm,
okay.
how would
Like
you make it warm?
Friendly.
What would you get rid of?
I think I'd like to hide some of the clutter. You know, whether it's cabinets or a curtain or shelves, or just put it all behind me so I don't see it. Because seeing all of the craft supplies all open and disorganized, you know, maybe I just need a trip to IKEA. I don't know. Not gonna
Online?
work.
Just shop online?
Can you do IKEA online?
Or a Container Store?
Oh, that's true.
Container
Although I've
Store,
gotten
or
really good-
Target?
Really good deals at Kmart on containers.
Billerica.
Hidden gem in Billerica.
It
Yep.
really is.
A lot closer than Target.
Yeah, that's very true. It is a little far from us. I like that, sort of putting it out of
Out of
your
sight, out of mind.
Exactly. Sometimes putting up a curtain just makes the room look completely different, and maybe that will give you more of a warm feeling that you'd sit down there more often.
Yeah.
Do you think?
It could.
How else could you make it warm?
Well, on two notes, I could probably put some candles down there. You know, like pretend I'm sitting in the Calgon Take Me Away bathtub with, you know, the bath, you know, maybe not the bubbles, but, you know, the candles, just candles are a nice, relaxing, they don't throw off that much heat, but just a nice, you know, karma. Not, I don't know if it's a karma thing or just just relaxing atmosphere.
Mm.
You know,
Do you have a
nice
favorite
nice
scent?
music. Chocolate. No. Yeah, chocolate just make me hungry. Another tangent. Every time I go to Bath and Body Works, my husband won't let me buy any food scented items. He says, "I don't want you smelling like food." It's like, okay, so
Oh.
cookie
So-
smell is out. Christmas cookie smell is out. But
Do you
anyway,
have candles in your home?
I do, but I kind of locked them away because I have a very curious 2-year-old.
Oh. So would he get down there?
Not when they're on. But yeah, I just kind of tucked my candles away for now.
And when you let's envision you going downstairs. How would you keep Grand Central Station from coming?
Close the door.
Would they?
Well, I
keep
think
it
a lot of it would be
closed?
after bedtime. Fortunately, I do have 2 young children, so they go to bed at a relatively early time. So I can just retreat downstairs and have my me time.
Me time.
There we go.
Yes, it ties in quite nicely. So we were going to talk about
When I don't have to do grocery shopping at 8 o'clock.
yes, trials and tribulations. So we were going to talk about
Okay.
the decluttering,
Okay.
but that is what you would get from finding that space is your me time.
Okay.
What would you do with it?
I bought my son longer story.
Okay.
When I was first dating my husband,
Yes.
before he was my husband, I cross-stitched a Christmas stocking and put his name on it. So he's got his cross-stitched stocking. After we got married, I said, he's got a Christmas stocking. I need one. So I cross-stitched myself a Christmas stocking,
Wow.
which, again, is a very time-consuming process. When my daughter was born, took me until her second Christmas, so she was a little over a year old, I cross-stitched her a stocking. My son is over 2 years. He's had his third Christmas, and his Christmas stocking is still sitting in a plastic bag. Really like to finish it before he enters college,
Yeah, time definitely.
or at least before he learns how to drive a car.
Well, that sounds like a nice thing to do. Is that something that you feel like you should do or something that you want to do?
Kind of both. I want to do it now. Come Christmas time when I'm looking at my mantle with 3 nice cross-stitch stockings and then the dollar store special with, magic marker as his name. That's when I feel like I should have done it.
Should have done it.
Yeah. Poor kid's going to be deprived if he's got, a different stocking. One of these things is not like the other. We only have about 10 minutes left, so.
Oh, wow. Time flies when you're having fun and
Time
talking
flies when
about
I have
something that
fun.
you're passionate about.
Exactly.
Well, what did you get
Okay.
out of our coaching session?
The candles are a good idea. Just trying to organize my space, hide the clutter, and just making it, nice soft music, candles, a nice warm atmosphere, not necessarily a warm temperature. I think that might be my next step.
That sounds great.
And we do have the big screen TV upstairs, so we can always throw Wall-E in. My kid's new favorite movie is Wall-E.
My son was addicted to it too.
Throw Wall-E up there, and they'll just
And retreat.
retreat.
You can hear them.
Yep, and they can have Daddy Date Day. So, okay, one more question for you,
Sure.
and then I'm going to kind of start wrapping things up. Complete the sentence. When all else fails, fill in the blank.
Try again because your family depends on it.
That was a really short answer. Mine would have been something like eat chocolate.
You could do that too.
Have a
It
bowl
could
of
help
ice
you
cream.
try again. Eat
try
the
again.
chocolate and then try again.
And then try again. Eat the chocolate, regroup, de-stress. Chocolate's good for you, especially the dark stuff. So, do you feel that there are any other things you'd like to add? Because we do have 10 minutes left and not 5 minutes, so.
I think there's certain habits that a working mom
Okay.
should truly follow.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
I think the first one is keeping a journal.
Okay.
I love to write.
Now, is this like a diary journal or?
Yes,
Okay.
sure. It
Dear
can be.
diary.
Yep. I usually start with the date because I do like to go back and I like to read them.
Okay.
Start it off in the morning with your cup of coffee, or end it at night when you're having your warm milk or your glass of wine, whatever you prefer. And jot down what happened that day. Jot down any challenges that you faced. It's better than sweeping it under the rug. To put it down on paper makes it more real.
Okay.
And it makes you think about it a little bit more. You're bringing it to
Same way
the
with Weight
forefront.
Watchers. They make you write down what you eat.
Exactly. Writing is extremely powerful and profound.
Okay. But then you have to go back and read it.
No,
No?
just let it go.
Oh.
And then in the aftermath, just like with coaching,
Okay.
you're going to think about the fact that you wrote it, and it's going to be in the forefront. For me, in the morning, I'm the most creative right as soon as I wake up. Like when I'm getting ready for the morning and the kids are still sleeping, that's when I write. And then while I'm getting them ready, doing the mundane things, I'm thinking about everything that I just wrote. So if any good successes happened the day before.
Okay, so you're right about the previous day, because I'm like, when you wake up in the morning, there probably weren't too many challenges between the time you went from your bedroom to the kitchen to make coffee.
Or there's goals that you're thinking about that you
okay.
want to accomplish that day.
Okay.
So sometimes I do a little bit of both. Just whatever's alive for you at the moment, jot it down. Doesn't have to be every day.
Okay.
It's not something that you should do. You should just want to be there, write down something, if it's just a sentence or two.
Okay.
So that's my first habit that I
Okay.
recommend. My second habit is sleep. Sleep. So for instance, last night, I was so excited about coming on the show. I was like, oh, I'm going to prepare for it. I'm going to try and, gather my thoughts on it. And I thought to myself, okay, well, what are my priorities? And my priority at the moment is this little baby. And I'm getting pretty tired lately. Speaking of sleep. But I'm feeling a little bit pain too. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go to bed. It was 8 o'clock at night. I woke up this morning, felt even 10 times more excited about coming here this evening.
Good, because I'm keeping you up past your bedtime.
You definitely keep me up. And the last thing I would recommend is always constantly trying to improve your efficiency. And you can do that by hiring a coach.
Okay.
So that's what I recommend for
Great.
habits.
And they can always give you a call or send you an email. They've put your email address up and your website, your blog up there.
Awesome.
So that's up there so people can get in touch with you. Or if they forget, they can always contact me at talk@bcattv.org. Oh, there's your website.
Yay, Lizzie Mick.
So they can always email me and I can always forward that information on to you. Or if they have any feedback, they can always contact me.
Great. All is
Okay.
welcomed.
Great. Well, thank you very much for appearing on my program.
Thank you.
And
for
hopefully you will
having
come
me.
back.
I would love it.
So, but I do want to tell our audience who our next guest will be, again,
Ooh,
through Mother to Mother.
yes.
We have Corey Barkley, who will be coming on and talking about an organization that's close to her heart called WomanAid. And that's an organization that helps needy families around the community that are going through some kind of struggle. And we'll also be talking a little bit about Mother to Mother, what the organization is, and the different types of helping that they do, a lot of their fundraising and
yes.
charity work that they do. And as a plug, Mother to Mother is another organization brought up by Corey, is we are participating in the Great American Bake Sale to raise money for hungry children within the United States.
In a couple weeks.
And that is February 7th at 3:30 p.m. located at the Burlington Recreation Department. So if anybody wants to come and purchase some yummy goodies, my 4-year-old is already ready to make her favorite oatmeal peanut butter chocolate chip M&M cookies.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like this big. They're amazing.
I'm hungry.
So come on by the Burlington Recreation Department at 3:30 on February 7th. And the beauty of Facebook is I know it's somebody's birthday tomorrow.
I'm looking at her.
So, yep, she's standing there. And, yep, I kind of dragged things out. But tomorrow is Liz's birthday. So we had to, and again, the references to chocolate are strictly coincidental. But I do want to wish you a happy birthday.
You have a heart of gold. Thank you.
And I want to thank you for coming. And I do want to thank my crew.
Yes.
for coming as well. They kind of have to come or else we wouldn't be here. So anyway, I
May I
don't know
blow
if you
them
want to make a
out?
wish. Yeah, before we set off the fire alarm.
Okay, yeah, I have to do a wish.
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you. That
And now
was
we're
really
going to set
kind
off
of
the fire
you.
alarm. So anyway, thank you very much for joining us this evening, and hopefully we will see you in a couple of weeks for our next program where we will be talking to Corey. So please send us an email, talk@bcattv.org, and have a pleasant evening and a pleasant week, and have a great day.
Yes.
Thanks.